It's a beautiful day in Mount Ormond, and you load in with your heart full of hope and a hot key to DC after nearly 49 matches straight of Weskers. You hop on a generator and dream of one day reaching the kind of MMR that gets you pound me into the pavement daddy blights, or Huntress mains that can snipe you from over 150 meters away while you're industriously cleansing a dull totem for that sweet inner healing to the point where you're jump scared so hard it gives you a rectal prolapse. In no time at all, your generator pops and you are on your way to the next one. You haven't seen, much less heard the killer. That's an outstanding sign since Wesker's terror radius is almost as big as his ego. If it's not Mr. Whiskers, who is it? You hop on the next generator. It's fine. Your last escape was nearly 17 matches ago, and if the other 3 survivors want to run a skull merchant until her unhinged hips finally fall off to reveal it was FNAF underneath the whole time, then by all means. The second generator is finished, then the third. The fourth. It's at the 5th generator that you really start to think something might be amiss. Your eyes flick to the other 3 survivors, and you see that they are neither in chase nor on an objective. What are the odds that everyone was AFK but you? Wait just a second. It's then that you notice the names. Never forgive, never forget. Screw you, Nancy. It wasn't like that in the lobby, was it? Surely you would have realized it. It's then that you see the killer, standing in a room in Maine, motionless. Insidious? You creep up the stairs, your heart pumping, all those wasted hours watching bad horror movies with the main characters heading towards the murder sounds, and you cry that their IQ is lower than the calories in celery, and yet you continue. You peek around the corner and there's Amanda, her gaze fixed firmly on the wall. Beneath her, wriggling in formation, were the Megs. That's when she moves. Her head turns and you half expect it to pop off like a little pork dandelion. The Megs stop and in perfect unison, they stand. They stare at you, and as you stare back, there is a sudden recollection itching at the back of your brain. 17 games ago, you met this Meg in a lobby with an Ace and a Steve. They weren't named Screw You Nancy back then. No, they were Who's Your Daddy. It was a match against yet another Wesker, and you'd been minding your own business at a gen when the Steve had brought his bullshit over. You hopped in a locker and waited. They were right in front of you. Steve's head bobbing around like Wesker had hooked him up to a car battery and jump-started his himbo brain like he was Frankenstein's monster. Wesker would surely down him and hook him. Weskers don't play for fun. They play to be assholes. You had head on. This was your time to shine. You stunned him, dropped a flashbang, and you were out of there. A hero. Steve went down, and shortly after, the gen you'd been originally working on let out a queef of smoke. You heard the long, prepubescent goose honk that is Steve's scream. It's fine. It's a single hook, and the team was down to 2 generators, and Meg's was nearly finished. You were gonna cleanse a totem, but unfortunately, this specific totem was smothered and covered, just like the gens were at the beginning of the match. You were looking for an alternative generator far away from the Steve, who was surely being face camped. You pass an Ace in the corn, just 2 ships in the night, albeit one of those ships looks to be made exclusively of stripper poles and crack and smells like Grandpa's cologne. That's when Wesker found him, skating through the corn like a Hot Topic Tony Hawk. Ace never saw it coming. The Visconti family jewels flew up into his pelvis so fast it created a vacuum seal. Meg popped the gen and you kept your head down, making your way past the carnage as Ace made a last-ditch effort to bargain with Wesker with the only tools he had. You find another generator with a large chunk of progress on it, but unfortunately, the entity had been marinating the old tentacles in the gen's muffin. That's when you heard the terror radius. It's Wesker, so he could technically be halfway across the map, but it gets louder and louder, and finally he rounds the corner. He stops and stares at you for a moment from behind those Dolce & Gabbana sunglasses as your colon decides to free the hostages. You make a run for it, but this man is ready to put his whole arm up the chute and use you like a puppet. You're on the hook just as Meg finishes unhooking and healing the other 2 survivors. Wesker is close, watching you, exultant like a farmer finally catching the woman out doing squats in his cucumber field. Ace, Meg, and Steve finish out that final generator. Surely they will leave. That's what Megs do after all. You put in the legwork and they open the gate and leave you on the hook. Much to your surprise, you see the Meg standing in front of the other 2, like a general giving a speech to her 2 inept recruits. They 99 a door. She points, gestures back at them, and she comes running. The other 2 behind her, flying in goose formation. They arrive. Wesker shakes his head. Meg steps forward and points at you, nods, and then they swarm the hook. Meg grabs you before getting hit, only for Ace to swoop in and scoop you off the hook. Steve takes the rear and you all head for the corn. Steve takes a hit and you swerve to the left, crouching and taking cover as the Wesker pursues the other 3. You find a totem, heal up in a locker, and go to a door. The other 3 are down. They never made it to that 99 door. You're on the other door, pulling the lever as Wesker throws them on hook. 1, 2, 3. You look back. You could try to save them, but you're only one person, and for all you know, he could have Bloodwarden. Plus, you have a daily. You open the door. You leave them. All 3. You snap back and find the Megs standing closer, Amanda right beside them. You shake your head. It's all a misunderstanding. You had a daily. You try to run, but the Megs are there, blocking the door. Amanda cracks you one and you plow through her and head to the open area behind her. You should have just finished that last generator and opened the door. You could have gotten out. You try to get to a locker early enough for a head-on, but Amanda was too quick. She's got you while the Megs trail behind her, squatting like a bunch of demented Oompa Loompas. Onto the hook you go. You figure since the Megs have aligned themselves with the pig, you might as well get this match over with and decide to try your luck. The Megs are on to your game, and the moment you try, the head Meg is tickling your armpits, while the other two are furiously playing Amanda's banjo, and from the look of things, they have impeccable fingering. Finally, just as you're about to hit second stage, Meg, unbelievably, unhooks you. You take off. Maybe this was just a quick joke. Just a bit of fun because of that whole misunderstanding 17 games ago. Unfortunately, Amanda was off to the races with the Megs right behind, and before you knew it, you were on the ground. The Megs pointing and laughing like they'd just seen the clown in a thong with suspenders. Amanda picks you up, drops you, picks you up, drops you. You're back on your feet, but the Megs have you trapped. Pigo downs you again before starting all over. You hit that DC shortcut and you're back to the title screen with a DC penalty. No problem. You had a few too many hot pockets and need to drop the zombies off at the RCPD anyway. A few minutes later and you're back in, searching for a match and finally entering a lobby. Oh no.